Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Naomi, and let's dream about beauty. In today's video, I have for you a full face of e.l.f. makeup that I have recently purchased. Everything except the bronzer is new. So I am a person who prefers or has up to now mostly used high-end and mid-range makeup. I don't consider ColourPop or BH Cosmetics Drugstore just because I have to order them from the States, and when you have to order them from such, an exotic location, it doesn't seem drugstore. So to me, drugstore is like Maybelline, Rimmel, Revlon, L'Oreal, the kind of brands that I can get from my local drugstore. Now, my local drugstore does and has in the last year to year and a half has started selling e.l.f. Wet n Wild and Milani. So those are products that prior to this weren't readily available to me. And that's one of the reasons why I don't have a large collection of those brands. But I've heard so many good things about e.l.f. from lots of different YouTubers that I watch. So I just decided that I was going to give it a try, especially after I was online about a week ago. And I saw on Shoppers Drug Mart that there was, quite a large and extensive range of e.l.f. products available to purchase. So anyhow, if you are interested in seeing how I got this look, what products I bought, and my thoughts, then just keep on watching. Okay, so we're going to start with the e.l.f. Putty Primer, Matte Putty Primer. I've heard so much about this. I'm so excited to use it. No idea how much you need, so hopefully this isn't too much. It's going on nicely. Had a few breakouts around my mouth. I think it's hormonal. On my mouth, up here. Okay, so next we're going to go in with the e.l.f. This is called the, where'd I put the box? Oil Free Flawless Finish Foundation, and it's in the shade Sand. So just shake it up and then it'll squeeze out. Ah! Oh my. That got a little messy. Okay, so I just squeezed some out on the back of my hand. I'm just going to go in with my, hopefully it's a good match. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Doesn't smell bad, but it has a bit of a chemically smell to it. My sponge is soaking up a lot of it. I have to pump out a little bit more. This pump doesn't seem to want to work very well. There we go. It's a bit sticky. Okay, so just looking at my magnifying, that actually looks really pretty. I can't really see it sitting on my skin. It blended easily. It looks nice around my pores. Yeah, so far so good. Yay, e.l.f. One thing I will say is that the pump is not the smoothest. Okay, so next we are going to go in with the Halo Glow Setting Powder. Oh, sorry, no. Next we're gonna go in with a concealer. I found it hard picking out my shade in the concealer. So this is the 16-hour camo concealer. I've heard really good things about this from lots of people. The shade looks very light. I think I got it too light. I got it in light peach and it looks very light. Oopsies. Yeah, that is way too light for me. Another win for my daughter because I'll have to give it to her. It's a little bit patchy up in here. Definitely nice coverage. It is sticking a bit to dry areas under my eye. Probably went in with too much. Just going to go in with my fingers. So next, the e.l.f. Halo Glow setting powder. Okay. So it is, this powder is sort of not sitting in my pore area very nicely. It is actually kind of making polka dot pores. But I am going to go over it with a brush. We'll see what happens. Powder doesn't really have too much of a scent. Okay, so far so good. Okay, so the next is the e.l.f. bronzer. This is the, I think it's called Sunkissed bronzer. It's the primer infused. Oh, that looks pretty good. Blends nicely, it doesn't look patchy. Okay, so next I have a blush palette. I'm not sure what it's called, but this is the packaging. So that's what it looks like. I think I'm going to go in with this slightly, going to do a combination of these two bottom shades. It's pretty nicely pigmented. That looks pretty. It's blending really easily. It's nicely, like I said, it's nicely pigmented. Colors are pretty. Do like what Helena does, where she puts some blush on her nose. Okie dokie. Okay, next we have the Jelly Highlighter. Now, there was a highlighting palette that I really wanted, and I put it in my cart, and then I went in the next day to press, you know, order. And unfortunately, it was sold out. So then I was sad. So I decided that the Jelly Highlighter looked interesting. So this is what it looks like. Ooh, kind of looks like it has a very, I don't know, what would you call it? It's quite runny actually. Interesting texture, interesting consistency. Okay, so now just going to take a little bit. I'm rubbing it kind of out on my hand because I want to see kind of what the texture is. Definitely pretty. Maybe my finger would be better. Dries fast. I'm gonna have to blend. So it dries really fast, so you have to really work with it quickly. But it really, I think, like melds into the skin nicely. And gives a nice glow for sure. So now for eyeshadow palettes, I bought this is a palette I've been wanting for a long time, and I just didn't have any way of getting it, and I was so excited when I went online at Shoppers Drug Mart and I saw that they had it. And it was the great selection of e.l.f. products they had. They've always had, you know, like, well, not always. I would say for about maybe the last year and a half they've been selling e.l.f. My local one doesn't sell in store, so I have to order online. But I've been wanting this palette for a long time. And it is beautiful. It's called the Earth and Ocean palette. trying to decide what colors to go in with. I'm going to start out with probably the shade Mojave Mami right here in the bottom corner. But first I have to put on some eyeshadow primer. I'll do that off camera because it's not e.l.f. Okay, so it looks like there's a little bit of glitter in this shade, quite a bit of kick up in the pan. Yeah, I would call this like, this shade is like a little bit of a satin because I can see a bit of shimmer there. But it's blending out nicely. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with the shade Can't Kelp It, which is this one right here, kind of a bit of a khaki green. And I'm just going to run that in the crease. You know, this palette is even prettier in person than it is online. I'm really happy that I bought it. I should do a side-by-side comparison with the Ace Beauté Oceanic palette, because that's what it reminds me of. So far I'm impressed with the pigmentation and the blendability of the shades. You know, like that. You can see that just going in once with that color is you know, you don't have to keep dipping in and building. But yet you don't get such intense pigmentation right off the bat that it's like if you don't do it exactly right, then you're screwed. Okay, so now I'm going to use my smaller brush and I'm going to go in with the shade Trenches, which is this dark shade in my outer corner. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with the shade Underwater, and I'm going to put that on my lid. I just swatched the shade Tundra. Oh my god, that's beautiful. Ooh. I'm going to spray it. Holy moly. That's some serious pigmentation there. Okay, so now I'm just going to take a smaller little packing brush and I'm going to go in with the shade Tundra. And I'm going to put that in the center of my eye. It's a bit of a chunky shade, but it looks pretty. And it's just adding a bit to, ooh, that's chunky. A lot of chunky bits of glitter in that shade. Okay, so I'm just going to go in again with that shade Underwater. I'm going to bring that down my lower lash line. And I'm going to put a little bit of this, this Tundra shade is soft. And put a little bit of it in my inner corner. Hopefully I don't get it in my eyes. That's interesting because it has a bit of a greenish reflect to it. Super pretty. Wow. This is a gorgeous palette. I am thrilled with it. Excellent quality. Elf, you hit a home run with this one and I'm so happy I bought it. Like that Tundra shade, hooey. I don't remember who I was watching that ordered this palette and the Tundra shade came broken and then they replaced it, and when it came again the Tundra shade was broken again. And that's kind of one of the prettiest shades in the palette, although I'm looking forward to using those blues. Let me tell you, it was hard to hold myself back and use the greens rather than the blues because I really wanted to use the blues, although this green is just gorgeous. Okay, so I'm going to run away here and do my eyebrows and eyeliner and whatnot, and then I will be right back. Okay, so now the last thing that I have, I bought two of the Seriously Satin lipsticks. So I have the shade Nectar and the shade Taffy. So I think I'm going to go in with the shade Nectar. I'm just going to use a Buxom lip liner because I don't have an Elf. That's nice creamy. Nice and creamy. Okay, so they always make it so hard to get into these things. Come on. Come on. Out you come. It goes on really nicely. So this is the finished look with the full face of new to me Elf products that I have recently purchased. Now I understand the hype. I think that all of these products were good to great. I don't really have any major complaints. I thought the eyeshadow palette was absolutely gorgeous. Every shade that I used was good quality, and the color story is beautiful, so I have nothing to complain about with that. I think the foundation looks really pretty. And it doesn't seem to be settling anywhere. It looks great. I would say that the only thing that I probably won't use very often is the powder. I don't know, I think it's just doesn't minimize my pores quite as much as I would like. So, and the bronzer is really pretty. The blush I love, so I'll be using that again for sure. And the highlight looks really nice. It blended in really well, like it looks really good. So yeah, so e.l.f., wow, I'm impressed. Now I will, you know, I'm so pleased that Shoppers Drug Mart is selling more e.l.f. I will be looking for the bite-sized palettes here to buy. The ones that they had were sold out, so I wasn't able to get any because I was definitely looking for those. I've heard really good reviews. And, you know, now I understand why, you know, palettes that are $50, $55, people are like, why are these palettes so expensive? Because when you can get something like this that's such good quality, I think I paid, I don't know, it was under $20 anyways. I mean, we don't get e.l.f. in Canada for quite as inexpensive as it is in the States. So I think I paid about $75 for all of this stuff. So, you know, it's not cheap, but it's definitely not, you know, like, I think I paid $75 just for my Gucci bronzer. So, you know, to have a full face of makeup for the same price as one bronzer is pretty good, especially when the makeup is such good quality. Anyhow, time is our most precious resource, and when you spend some of your precious time with me, I really, really appreciate it. I hope wherever in the world you are that you're well, that you're healthy, and that you're most importantly happy. I would like to encourage you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Activate the notification bell so that you can see when I upload. Comment down below because I love reading your comments more than anything, and maybe a thumbs up for me would be great. That's it from me for today. Take care and bye-bye.